Okay, so Deathstroke versus Wolverine. I shouldn't need to explain either one of these two characters. Deathstroke has a tremendously huge background when it comes to what he's done in comics. He has defeated teams like the Justice League, the Titans on multiple occasions. During Infinite Crisis, it took 3 members of the Batman family to take him down, as well as I think it's 3 of them in Green Arrow. He is also, ironically, in a crossover where it was Teen Titans and the X-Men. He defeated all of the X-Men. However, he had a standoff against Wolverine. So yes, that means he has defeated the Phoenix. He's also beaten Wonder Woman, but this was the Dennis O'Neil Wonder Woman, so she wasn't as powerful. Aquaman. I know, he beat Aquaman. Doesn't make a big deal, but Aquaman is a tremendously huge threat. He's got superhuman strength, speed, the whole 9 yards. And he's constantly one of the right-hand men when it comes to a major supervillain crafting a team. You know, you want a guy who is Batman and Captain America, but a villain. And Wolverine, we all know who Wolverine is. But at this point in time, it'd be hard to find somebody who does not know who Wolverine is. He's in like 300 comics every single month. He's got a movie coming out. If you've seen the X-Men movies, he pretty much is the main focus. Even if he only has a cameo, he is still one of the main focuses of the movie. So, I always do these in 9 criteria. You have intelligence, fighting ability, strength, speed, durability, there's your healing factors, and vulnerability. How well, this is if you have some sort of armor, how well is that going to help you absorb the initial impact of injury. Energy projection, here's your distance, versatility, and X factor. Something that's not covered in the previous ones. So we'll get right into this. It's been written that Deathstroke, on my screen I still have my Batman Deadpool fight on there. So, Deathstroke uses 90% of his brain. I'm pretty sure 90% of Wolverine's brain is probably just all random scar tissue and forgotten memories. So for intelligence, it is definitely Deathstroke. Fighting ability. And I'm going to hear this one again, but when Wolverine fights, it's predominantly, I have a healing factor, I don't need to use a tremendous amount of skill. So it's going to go to Deathstroke. Strength. This one's kind of a bizarre one. While Deathstroke does have a superhuman abilities to him, I'm trying to compare that to a guy who is near superhuman level to a guy who essentially has spent decades of his life walking around with anywhere from 400 to 800 pounds of adamantium lacing in his bones. So you got a guy who's almost walking around constantly in like a high gravity situation. So Wolverine's daily life is almost like a Dragon Ball Z simulator. So I'm actually give the strength advantage to Wolverine. Just because naturally his bones are laced. So every time he moves, when he grabs a beer and goes for a drink, it's kind of like he's doing probably a 100-pound curl. That means he's ridiculously strong. Speed. Wolverine has had good amounts of agility, a lot more when he lost his adamantium. With it, again, he's got approximately 400 to 800 pounds of lacing his body. So I'm going to give the speed advantage definitely to Deathstroke. While he already has superhuman agility and things of that nature, he's not constantly weighed down by hundreds of pounds of additional material on him. Durability. This is Wolverine, period. Deathstroke can come back from fatal injuries. When he comes back, he ironically is animalistic and insane. That's a unique downside. But he can't regrow body parts. Wolverine pretty much can. You have to decapitate him or drown him. That's pretty much how you have to kill Wolverine. Now we're looking at invulnerability. With this one, ironically, I'm going to give it to Deathstroke because he tends to wear armor. Will his armor help him out tremendously against Wolverine? No. But in a fight, let's say Wolverine and Batman, Batman's armor will help against distance scratches, but not a straight puncture. Where with Deathstroke, you're probably going to see a better ability at reducing the scratches, but if Wolverine goes for a straight punch, he's probably getting right through it. But he does still have enough of an armor on that's going to give him more of an advantage to taking off some of the initial blunt of an attack than you see on Wolverine. Energy projection. At range, this is Deathstroke. Deathstroke likes to carry a full assortment of guns, so at range, he's got him. Now we're down to what comes down to versatility. Wolverine has a tremendous amount of unique abilities that will help him track. Deathstroke does kind of like to use a little bit of the shadows, but not that much. So that's going to come down to, does Wolverine's additional animalistic abilities, the heightened sense, the heightened smell, the heightened hearing, is that going to help him against someone like Deathstroke, who, while not having a bunch of tools with him, is very inventive and has a lot of military background? That one I can see kind of being a toss-up. But I'll probably give it to Wolverine because he's going to know something's going on sooner. Now we can know the all-important X factor. Ironically, if Deathstroke has the slightest inkling of who he's going to fight or what's going on, and I don't know personally what he naturally carries on himself, if he has smoke grenades or flash grenades, they affect Wolverine a lot more. If he has anything that does any sort of strong odor, Wolverine gets affected by that tremendously. I know comics infrequently like to use that. If you have a heightened sense of smell, anything that produces a high pungent odor is going to affect that person. It's the same thing like using flashbang someone with good eyesight. It's the same thing as using any sort of sonic device with a creature with super hearing. You know, not knowing what he naturally, I don't know if he carries a utility belt with him or not. I've never really seen him use something to that event, but those certain things he actually could use to affect someone like Wolverine. Now what it comes down to is, what is this fight to? This fight could be one of two scenarios. One, if it's to KO, then the X Factor is going to go Deathstroke. If this fight's to KO, it goes to Deathstroke, and he takes it 6-3. He is going to just stomp Wolverine. Now, if this fight ends up being to the death, I put that X Factor to Wolverine, because he's really tough to kill. That makes it a 5-4. Deathstroke will still come out on top. More often than not, it's just going to be a tremendously tough battle for him.